Hello, welcome. I am so glad that you are here with me today. I am extremely excited because today we're going to get to play with the brand new Mushroom Cottage collection that was just debuted last week. It is so much fun. I know you are going to really enjoy this. So if you're an insider member, you had early access to this collection. So hopefully some of you already have it and are playing and making those one-of-a-kind special projects. So let's go ahead and switch our camera views and let's check out what we're going to make today. All right, here is the card we're going to make today. I have taken some of the fun images from the new collection and paired it with some of the previous dies like the leafy frame and the snow globe and made a nice shaker element here on our card. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, let's take a look real quickly at our different pieces that are coming in this collection. We've got the large mushroom cottage. Now, we're not going to be using the large mushroom cottage today, but there's a lot of fun images in here. We're going to use the little frog, and you're going to stamp this one 4 times. And let me go ahead and tell you, we are going to stamp all of our mushroom cottage images in the Encore Gold. Okay, and then we're gonna go ahead and stamp that on watercolor paper because today we're going to use our zig markers to add color to our images. So the way I did it was I stamped in the gold on watercolor paper and then I heat embossed with the gold embossing powder. Okay. Now, I did want to let you know real quick. Now, do use a specific watercolor paper. The flower shaping paper, though it feels similar to watercolor, it doesn't share the same properties. So you don't want to save your flower shaping paper to use for shaping flowers and don't try using it with the watercolor. Okay, so we're going to stamp 1 of the little frog and 4 of the little viney leaves here. And that's all we're going to be using from this set. Now, from the Mushroom Cottage Accents, isn't this a fun set? Oh my goodness, I love this little fairy. Isn't she cute? I think she'd be great as a tooth fairy. But we're going to have, go ahead and stamp and cut 1 of her, 1 of this little flower spray up here, and 2 of this little viney flowering one over here. And again, all of these are in the Encore Gold. Here's some sweet little fairies. Aren't they cute? Oh my goodness. We're going to use this one right here that's sitting, looking up. So go ahead and stamp 1 of her. And then this is the last set that comes in this collection. It is so cute. It's the mini mushrooms. These are so fun to play with and can be used in so many ways. And we are going to use this one right here. Okay. And again, we'll do just 1 of those. Now, like I said, we're going to stamp those in the gold and heat emboss them on watercolor paper. So this is what I have right here. And I'm just going to do a small sampling of how I use Zig watercolors. So I have just gotten a few of the Zig watercolors that I would like to use. And we're going to start with the Greenery. So let's see, I have deep green. And I have, oops, what's this one? Yellow. This is just plain yellow. And the way I like to do it is take a paintbrush and then in my water cup here, I just have plain tap water. And the way I like to do it is I go ahead and I lay down a little bit of water, 1 leaf at a time. And then up here at the top, I'm going to just add some of that dark green. And then down here at the tip, I'm going to add some of that bright yellow. And I can just do this to all of them at the same time. And you come back in with your green and right there in the center, just add some green. Okay. Then I just come back with my paintbrush and I'm going to spread that water out, mixing the colors as I go. And because of where I laid the color down, it's going to naturally put that shading where I want it. A little more water water there. One thing, whenever you're doing watercolor, it's just a matter of controlling the water. Whether you want a little water or a lot of water depends on how big a space that you have and how diluted you want that color to be. So there you go. Now when that dries, that's going to give us a really fun shading, and it's simple as that. Okay. Now I also went ahead and brought our little girl out. We're going to do a little bit on her. I'm going to show you how I did her hair. The same thing. I took the darker color and I'm putting that kind of where I think the darker colors would be on her head. And then I'm taking the lighter color, which is yellow. And this one is just straight brown and this one's yellow. And then on the light where I think that should have some highlights, I'm putting down some yellow. Then I'm just coming in with my water and I'm going to spread that out, mixing the colors together. And it's that easy. Now, if you get out of the lines, that's okay, because when we die cut this, that's going to die cut that off. Okay. And that's pretty much how I do it. Now for her wings, I think I'll do the wings next because I got a little bit of water in there, but I went around with some of the light pink. And then just filled in her wings with some water, pulling that pink out to where I wanted it. A lot of times when I'm using Zig and I'm using a paintbrush to paint with them, I like to have like a paper towel or a napkin so that I can kind of dab off some of the water. I didn't get one this time, but that's very helpful. All right, and then we'll just come in real quick with some of the dark pink. We're just going to come around the edges here with the dark pink. And this is how I colored all of the images for this card, other than the flowers that we're going to use. But all of the images from the Mushroom Cottage collection, this is how I did it. I am using the Zig watercolor pens, and if you don't have Zig watercolors, but you've been kind of interested in watercoloring and you want to purchase watercolor markers, I highly recommend the Zig watercolors. They work great for card makers. I believe Heartfelt Creation does sell that on their website, and we can link that below for you. Now to do her little outfit the same way. And I've got her wearing blue today. Let me just spread that color around. All right, now to make the skin color, I just mixed a little bit of the brown. Not very much, just a little bit. And this is just a stamping block. Because it's watercolor, it's going to, and then I did quite a bit of the yellow, but because it's watercolor, it's just going to wipe right off of here when we're done. And I just mix those together. And then I'm going to come in. Whoops, I got her a little too yellow. And dilute that down a little bit. But that's the joy of watercolor. You can dilute them. If you do get a color that you don't like, you just add a little more water and that'll tone it down for you. All right, and then the very last thing I did when she was dry, I came in with a little bit of the green, and I'll switch to this girl. I added a little bit of the green and pulled it out just to add some variation in her wings there, and then I used the 3D crystal lacquer and the Ranji crystal clear glitter just in the inner parts of her wings. All right. All right, so that's how I colored all of our images. The next thing you're going to do is make our sweet magnolias. So for the sweet magnolias, I used 1 large, 2 of the mediums, and 2 of the smalls. And I stamped those on our regular flower shaping paper, and I stamped those in the pink peony. Now, the only coloring that I did for these is I came back with, whoops, got that lid in there. I came in with the Vibrant Fuchsia ink, and I just gave a generous swirl of Vibrant Fuchsia just right in the centers. And that is all the coloring I did for these. I really wanted to spend more time on my mushroom cottage images, so I kept the flowers pretty simple. So after that, I went ahead and I die cut my peonies. Sorry, my sweet magnolias. I did cut my magnolias, and I came in with a pink peony. All these flower colors get me confused. And I just came back, and each of the tips, I just put a little swipe of color just right out there on the tips. And I left plenty of white space. Okay, so after that step, I got out the mold for the magnolias, for the sweet magnolias. And I ran all of our pieces for the flowers face down. Okay. So you go ahead and do that. And I spritzed them with a little water before I ran them through. And this is how they'll come out. Now, I chose the stamens from the bright bead stamens, and I chose these really bright, shiny pink ones. I thought they just had a nice, fun, kind of whimsical quality that I was going for on this card. So we're going to go ahead and use our hot glue guns to glue these flowers together and get all of our flowers made. Go. I'll bring mine over here that are finished. So give me some hearts today if you're liking the Mushroom Cottage and if you're liking this card today. I'm seeing lots of folks are tuning in just from all over the place. Hi, Janet. Oh, and there's Chris from Oklahoma. All right. It's so great to see all of you. Oh, there's a bunch of hearts coming in. Thank you so much. All right. Yes, welcome everybody. So once we get our flower to this point, you can go ahead and pop a hole in the center. I used quite a few. I've got one here. Do you ever have, every now and then you find one that's got like a double? I'm going to cut that one off of there. There we go. Pull that one out. There we go. I'm just going to push this down inside. Add a little bit of hot glue. There we go. A little bit of hot glue down in there, and then pull those stamens tight. Okay, got a little flopper over here. Push him down in there. All right, and there's our flowers. Now, I went ahead and added some dry clear glue and dipped those in our Rangi crystal clear glitter, just to glitter up the flowers and give them that fairy tale, little girly quality that we wanted them to have. Okay. All right, so that was quick. We got our flowers all done. Now, I did have to take my painted and dried leaves, vines, and I'm going to go ahead and use the foam mat from our deluxe flower shaping kit and the stylus, and we're going to go ahead and turn those over and add a little bit of shape to each one. Okay, so you're just going to press in the center of each of these leaves and kind of give them some shape. Aren't they cute? They each one look like little hearts, which I think also just adds to the fairy tale quality. So you're going to do that to each one. And because I know I'm going to pop these up, I went ahead and added my foam squares onto the back. You can do that too if you'd like at this point, or if you want to wait till we're putting it together, you can do that then. I also went ahead and added some shape to our little frog. But those are the only pieces that you want to add shape to. The pieces that we're going to use in our shaker element, I didn't add shape to those. So these are the only ones that have shape. So now we are ready to work on our shaker element. And these are the two die sets that we're going to use to make our shaker element. And I'm going to go ahead and open up the snow globe and kind of show you which pieces we're going to use. So this piece, I'll lay it out like this. So these are the only pieces that we're going to use from this set. So not the piece with this, but this larger circle that's in there. This piece is only going to cut our acetate. That's the only thing you're going to cut with this. Everything else are these two right here. So what you need to cut with this is one solid white piece. Oops. I used one of the foam sheets. You can also use the foam strips if you prefer. I've got a few over here. Oops, they're sticking together. You can use these foam strips to go around your shaker element, or if you have a foam sheet like I do, you can just go ahead and die cut the foam, and then we're just going to apply it right on top here. Now you do want to try to get that lined up because it will show. There we go. So we've got that all lined up. Apply that. And then you're going to also cut one out of pink. All right. And for this pink paper, it is from the Mushroom Cottage paper collection, and I use sheet 6B. Now, okay, now this was the one that you cut the acetate, and I have that right here. So we're gonna go ahead and peel off this top, or if you used foam, go ahead and peel that off, and we're gonna add our acetate right on top. There we go. All right. Okay, now I'm going to peel this off. Whoops, I don't have that. This one you got to be kind of straight about because we will see that. Sometimes I do it just perfect and sometimes I get it way off. So, okay, that's pretty good. Okay, all right, so we've got the front part of our shaker ready to go. We're going to turn that upside down. And now we're going to work on our backing piece. So let me get these out of the way. Now, when you cut out this white piece, you had a circle left, just a white circle that started out in here. We're going to add another piece on top, and I just cut this out of the paper pad on a sheet that was in the blues because I thought that matched well. And this is what we're going to use to build our little scene that's going to go in our shaker card. So I'll go ahead and show you what we've got here. Now you can see inside here, I wanted my fairy and my house to have a little more dimension. But if you used foam to pop those up, whatever you put in there to be your shaker element would not have the movement that you want it to have. So to fix that, I cut two of our little fairies out of just plain white paper, and then one out of the watercolor paper that I painted. But now I'm going to layer those, and that's what I'm going to put inside. So that way she has that lift and dimension, but there's nothing for my shaker elements to get caught on. Oops. We're just going to layer her up. And I did the same thing with the mushroom house, but with the mushroom house, I just did one layer instead of two because I didn't want him to be quite as thick as my fairy. I wanted my fairy to be the thing that stood out the most. So we're going to go ahead and add her to our stack. This is just a little technique you can do to get some extra dimension on your pieces. Okay. All right, and then I've made some foam for these little pieces. I just kind of place them in here. There we go. And all of these I left hanging off the edge, and we will turn that over and trim it once we get them all down. There we go. How's everybody doing today? Is it a nice day where you are? I tell you what, Texas has been so hot this last week. And then I'm going to, this little guy we're actually going to use on the outside. Okay. There we go. All right, so now we have all of our pieces in. There we go. Now, the last thing that I'll have you do this is the large eyelet circle that comes from our Eyelet Circle Basics. And then you're going to take that very inner piece of the snow globe and you're going to cut this out of the Deluxe Gold. And that's going to give you this pretty little frame right here. Okay, and on that, we're going to add that just to the front of our shaker element there. Okay. All right, there we go. All right. Thank you so much, Carrie Woolsey. Oh, another Carrie. It's not a name you hear very often. Spelled the same way as mine as well. It's nice to meet you. Oh, and she likes the zig markers as well. You know, I am still learning with the zigs, but I love watercoloring. So I'm working on getting better all the time. But I thought this particular collection was just screaming for the watercolor or for the zigs. So I noticed one of the other design team members, she used the zigs as well. I believe it was Napur. Okay, so now that we have this way, we're going to turn it upside down and come back with our scissors and just trim off all those pieces that are hanging off the edge. All right, there we go. Now this one is all ready. When we're ready to put this on our card, we will add our sequins on the inside. Whoops, don't want to throw that one away. Okay. There we go. So the next thing we're going to do, I'll go ahead and set our shaker element aside until we're ready to build our card. But we're going to come in and we're going to make our card base. Now to do our card base, we're going to come in with the leafy border die. And you're going to use the two biggest ones because this card has quite a bit on it. And so I wanted to make it as large as I could. So it's going to be a 6 by 7. All right. So you'll cut 2 of this one and 2 of this one. And then you'll use just the outline to cut it twice, each one twice out of purple. And this purple sheet came out of the same paper pad. For our base, I used this one right down here. And I used this decorative one right here for the middle. So I wanted to show you or share with you a neat technique for adding adhesive to the back of your decorative dies. So this is a product called Sticky Dots. And what this does is it's going to put sticky on the back of your project. Now, you peel it back and on the inside is all sticky. So you just lay it down inside and then let this fall back over and cover it up. And then press down really well. Now, when you pick this up, it's going to have sticky dots on the back. And for some pieces, I really like this product. Oops. It can be very sticky and stick to your fingers. Now, there are other ways to use this product, but for dies like this, now I don't know if you can see, but there's now sticky dots all on the back. And so I can just line this up just like this. It does give you a little bit of wiggle room, so if you get it done crooked, you can lift it back up. it will eventually be permanent, but you do have a little bit of wiggle room to reposition. And there you go. And that's how I made my frame. And on my frame, I went ahead and added foam all the way around the back. And this is my frame. Now for this piece on the bottom, I went ahead and cut that 6 by 7, and then I layered my frame using the foam on top of it. All right, so now that we have this, we are ready to finish it up. I'm going to add some foam on the back of my element here. Whoops. And I'm just going to add the foam on the one side that's going to be on this side. And then on the side that's going to be on the frame, I'm going to add glue. My glue is not wanting to come out. There we go. Oh, somebody said it's supposed to be 90 degrees in San Francisco. Well, we were 106 here last week, and it's been a long time since we've seen temperatures that hot. So I'm going to go ahead and place her about right here. Oops. I'm going to go ahead and add one piece of foam on the back of my, whoops, that's the right side. Yeah, back here. And before I go any further, I'm going to take just a few of my sequin mix, and I picked just a very pale pink kind of champagne colored sequins. Like I said, my sequins, I like inexpensive sequins, so I just pick them up wherever I can. So there we go with that. And now I'm going to add a little bit of glue. Oops. And there we go. Okay, hold that down. And there's our shaker element on our card. Okay, now we're just going to go in with our glue gun and our glue and go ahead and add the rest of our elements. So I've got my little fairy here that we painted up and added our glitter to earlier. We're going to go ahead and place her in. This was such a fun collection to play with. I found myself just not being able to stop. I just kept going and going and going. I made, I think I made like 4 or 5 cards in one day. And at the end, I'm going to hopefully share some of those with you if we have time. Hold her head down here. Now I went ahead and made this a thinking of you card because I thought this kind of looked like a little thinking bubble above her head as if she's remembering her friend from out of town or something like that. But I also thought it would make a great birthday card. I have 4 little girls in our family that I think would really enjoy receiving this as a birthday card. So that's a idea for you. And now I'm just going to plug in my other pieces. I got our little frog here that I'm going to tuck in. And all of these little vines, we're going to add those down and around here. Our little girl is sitting down here in the vines. There we go. So let me know in the comments, has anybody received their collection yet? And have you started playing? I love it when you post on Facebook and show us all the fun things that you're doing with the collections. It's our creativity. All of us just come up with so many different things, and I really enjoy seeing what y'all make. You inspire me. There we go. We'll put this down like that. And then I have one more of the leaves. And I just kind of fed that in there to give us a nice viney look. There we go. Okay, so the only thing we have to finish is to hot glue our flowers in place and pop on our sentiment. Just turning my glue gun back on. It went to sleep on me. There we go. Okay. There we go. I just love the way that this card all came together. It's so fun. There we go. Ah, thank you. There we go. I'm going to put one right down here. Now I'm leaving a little spot right here because I know that that is where I want to put my my sentiment. Whoops, I forgot to cut the back off of this one. There we go. I didn't want to cover up all of my greenery, so I kind of placed these just around so that you could still see all the little elements. All right, now the last thing, I chose a thinking of you sentiment, but certainly any sentiment that fits right in here. Like I said, birthday would be fun, and I went ahead and curled it up, and I am just going to add it with a little hot glue since I have it right here. And there we go. Look at that. Oh, I hope you guys are enjoying this mushroom cottage. There's so many fun things you can do with it. So just real quick, I'm going to show you a few of the others that I made. Let's see. Here's another snow globe one, but this time I used the clematis and I put the little frog and the a little bit larger mushroom house. I thought that was a really fun look. We have that one. And then here's another one with the vines. Now on each one of the leafy frames, I used a different color underneath. And then this one has our large mushroom. And I believe this was done with the Zig watercolors as well. And we have a couple fairies and frogs. Then here's a shaker card. It's a birthday card. And on these, I believe I colored these with the inks. And then here's a fun one. I made it just like a little flap card. It's been a while. I thought this might be fun to like invite somebody to go to lunch or something like that. And on these, I colored these with Copic markers. And here's another one that I did, just a very flat mailable card. And this one I did with the ink daubers and the ink like we usually do the flowers and more of a traditional coloring. So anyway, there's some ideas for you on some fun things you can do with this collection. I'm going to go ahead and switch back here. There we go. All right. Well, I have really enjoyed crafting with you today. If you are loving these storybook mushrooms and these playful fairies, I hope you'll head on over to www.heartfeltcreations.com and pop that collection in your basket and get it home and start playing. You're going to have a great time. I know you will enjoy creating with these adorable, whimsical images, and I can't wait to see what you are all making. If you want to know more about how you can save some money on your Heartfelt products, we will put the information for the information for the insider membership into the comments below, and you can check that out. And I just appreciate so much that you're here with me today, and I am looking forward to crafting with you again soon. Have a beautiful day. Thank you so much.